I went from making $35,000 a month running my own business to taking a 9-to-5 paycheck. And you know what almost destroyed me? It wasn't the pay cut. It wasn't the loss of freedom. It wasn't even the ego hit going back to work for someone else. It was this. I refused to change how I spent money. And if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I wasted more money after I sold my business than I ever did making the big income. Because I have never learned that one principle that separates people who build lasting wealth from the people who just make money to watch it disappear. Today, I'm going to share something I never talked about publicly. A season of my life that honestly still makes me uncomfortable to admit. But I believe God wants me to share this with you because someone watching this right now is making the exact same mistake I made. And it's costing you everything. Make sure you stay with me to the end because I'm going to get real personal real fast. So let me take you back. I had built an upholstery business from nothing. Custom furniture, high-end clients, the whole thing. And at its peak, I was bringing $35,000 a month. Now, for some of you, that number sounds incredible. For others, you've made more. But here's what matters. It was more than enough. More than I needed to provide for my family, build wealth, and have financial breathing room. But here's what I didn't realize at the time. Having a high income doesn't make you wealthy. It makes you someone with high income. There's a massive difference because the whole time I was making money, I felt empty, unfulfilled, like I was building something successful, but it wasn't what God called me to do. So I made a decision. I sold the business. I took what most people would call a normal job, a regular 9-to-5 with a regular paycheck, while I figured out exactly what God was calling me to do next. And that's when everything fell apart. Not the business transition, not the job itself. What fell apart was me, my spending, my discipline, my stewardship of what God had given me. Because even though my income had changed, my mind hadn't. Here's what I didn't expect. When you go from regular business income to employee income, everything in your life has to recalibrate. Like your spending, your budget, your lifestyle expectations, everything. But the problem is, I didn't recalibrate. I kept spending like I was making $35,000 a month. Not because I was trying to flex or keep up appearances, but because my habits hadn't changed. My mindset about money hadn't changed. I would go out to eat and not think twice about the bill. I'd see something I wanted and just buy it. I make purchases based on how I felt in the moment instead of what actually serves my future. And the worst part, I justified it. I work hard, I deserve this. This is not expensive. I'll make more money soon anyways. But month after month, I'm watching my savings shrink. I was living paycheck to paycheck, the first time in years. And the stress, it was crushing. My wife could see it. I could see it. But for some reason, I could not stop it. And here's the thing that really broke me. I realized that when I was making $30,000 a month, I was still being irresponsible. The only difference is I had enough money coming in to hide it. I hadn't built wealth. I had built a lifestyle that required constant high income to maintain. And the moment that income changed, the whole house of cards collapsed. So can I ask you something? Are you doing the same thing right now? Maybe you're making good money and you think you're being responsible because the bills are paid and there's enough money in the bank account. But are you actually building anything? Or are you just funding a lifestyle? Or maybe you're like I was after I sold the business. You're not making what you used to make, but you're still spending like you are. And every month is getting tighter and tighter, and you don't know how to stop. Listen to me. The amount of money you make is not the problem. How you steward is. So here's where God started breaking through to me. I was in the cycle of spending, stress, guilt, repeat. And one day I was sitting there looking at my bank account and I I heard God speak to my spirit, not audibly, but clear as day. He said, how can I trust you with more when you're not building faithful with what you have now? And it wrecked me because I realized God wasn't withholding blessings from me. He was actually protecting me from myself. If he had given me more money in that season, I would have just wasted it, just like I was wasting what I already had. I guess the only difference is I would have had just scaled my irresponsibility, not my stewardship. So this verse is what really helped me shift everything. Jesus says in Luke 16:10, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. This isn't about amount. This is about faithfulness. When you get to this number, then I'll see if you can handle responsibility. No, friend. He looks at what you're doing with what you have right now. And so I had to face my own truth. I was not being a good steward, not with $35,000 a month when I had it, and definitely not with a regular paycheck that I had now. I was living according to my feelings, my impulses, my desires in the moment, instead of living with intentionality, with purpose, with long-term vision, what God wanted to build through my life. So friend, this is what hit me the hardest. I had wasted so much money on things that didn't matter, things I can't even remember now. Meanwhile, I could have been investing in my family's future, building something that would last, and positioning myself for alignment for what God had for me. So how much money did I actually waste? Honestly, I'm too embarrassed to even calculate it. But if I'm being conservative, easily over $100,000, maybe more. $100,000 could have been invested, could have been saved, could have been used for kingdom purposes. Gone because I didn't understand stewardship. So what changed? How did I break out of this? First, I had to get brutally honest about where every dollar was going. And I mean every dollar. I started tracking my spending like my life depended on it, because in a very real way, it did. And when I actually saw where my money was going, I was completely shocked, embarrassed, convicted. Eating out, hundreds of dollars a month. Impulse purchases, consistently. Subscriptions, I forgot I had multiple. Things I needed that I absolutely didn't. And sadly, too many to count. So I made a decision. Every dollar from this point forward is intentional, not emotional. And friend, that became my rule. Not, I can't afford this, but does this serve what God is building in my life? And let me tell you, that shift changes everything. Because when you start asking, does this serve my future? Instead of, do I want this right now? You start making completely different choices. That dinner out, instead of just going because we felt like it, and start asking, is this about connection and rest? Or is this just about spending because we're tired? If it's about connection, great. If it's just convenience, we're gonna just cook at home. The thing that I wanted to buy, instead of clicking add to cart, I started waiting 24 hours. And you wanna know what happened? Most of the time I realized I didn't actually need it. Those subscriptions canceled. Everything that wasn't actively adding value to my life or helping me build towards what God called me to. Now, friend, listen, I'm not telling you to go cheap. And I'm definitely not telling you never to spend money on anything you enjoy. That's not stewardship, friend. That is actually fear. But I am telling you this. Stewardship is about intentionality. It's about knowing why you're spending every dollar and making sure that every dollar is working for you, not against you. And here's the thing. When you start living this way, something incredible happens. You start seeing more margin in your finances, not because you're making more money necessarily, but because you're not bleeding money on things that don't matter. You start feeling more peace because you're not living in the constant stress of, will there be enough? And you'll start positioning yourself for God to trust you with more because you're proving faithful with what you have right now. Now, here's where it gets really important for me personally. Since that season, God called me to teach biblical wealth principles to help other Christians discover how to build wealth that serves kingdom purposes and aligns with their God-given assignment. And friend, let me tell you, that calling comes with a weight, because I can't teach you to be a good steward if I'm not going to be a good steward myself. I can't help you break spending cycles if I'm still trapped in them. I can't lead you somewhere where I haven't gone. So every single day, I had to live this at a high standard. Not because I'm perfect, because I'm not. Not because I have it all figured out, I don't. But because God called me to lead people in this area, which means I have a responsibility to walk it out with integrity. And I'm telling you this because I think some of you watching this right now, God is calling you to lead others too. Maybe not necessarily in wealth principles specifically, but in something. And before he can elevate you to that level of leadership, he needs to know, can I trust you with what you have right now? Are you being faithful with your current income, your current opportunities, your current resources? Or are you waiting for more before you start living with discipline and intentionality? Because here's what I learned the hard way. God doesn't give you more so you can then become responsible. He makes you responsible with what you have, and then he gives you more. That's the pattern throughout all of Scripture. Joseph was faithful as a slave before he was entrusted as second in command of Egypt. David was faithful as a shepherd before he was entrusted as a king. The servants in the parable of the talents, the ones who were faithful with what they had, were given authority over more. So friend, the question isn't, will God bless me with more? The question is, am I being faithful with what he's already given me? And if the answer is no, then your breakthrough isn't about getting more money. It's about becoming a better steward of what you already have. So where do you go from here? If you're watching this and you're realizing I'm doing exactly what Roger did, I'm wasting money living on emotions instead of intentionality, and I don't know how to stop, let me help you. I created something specifically for people in this place. I call it the Biblical Wealth Starter Kit. And guess what? It's completely free. It won't cost you a thing. Inside, you're going to find the exact biblical principles that transformed my relationship with money, the mindset shifts that broke me out of the spending cycle, and the practical steps you can take today to start becoming a better steward of what God has given you. Now, this isn't some generic budgeting spreadsheet. This is biblical wealth transformation from the ground up. You're going to learn how to shift from emotional spending to intentional stewardship, the difference between making money and building wealth, why God might be protecting you from more until you master enough, practical strategies that help break spending habits that are bleeding your future dry, how to align your finances with the assignment God has for your life. Look, I wasted over $100,000 learning these lessons the hard way. You don't have to. Everything I'm teaching came from real mistakes, real pain, and real transformation. And I'm sharing it with you because I believe God sent you to this video today for a reason. The link to get the free Biblical Wealth Starter Kit is in the description below. It's very simple. Click it, put your email in, and you'll get instant access. But here's the most important thing that I want you to hear today. Stewardship isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily lifestyle. It's not about waiting until you feel like being responsible with money, okay? It's about making the intentional choice every single day to honor God with what He has already given you, whether that's a lot or a little, whether you're in a season of abundance or in a season of just getting by. Faithfulness isn't about the amount, it's about the heart. So if you're ready to break the cycle, if you're ready to stop wasting money on things that don't matter and start building wealth that serves what does matter, if you're ready to position yourself for God to trust you with more, then grab that Biblical Wealth Starter Kit. Let's walk this journey together, because God has an assignment for your life, and He's waiting to see if He can trust you with the resources to fulfill it. Don't make Him wait any longer. And friend, Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit that little bell button. It helps me to create more videos like this for you, your family, and your loved ones. Till next time, God bless you.